I need to add an additional sentence to that, and that's an important thing. We do not exchange children, and we do not exchange civilians.
To be honest with you, I do not understand why this is happening. If they took the civilians from the line of fire, then let them come back, as you say.
В свое время. Первый, кто попался в Путин. Тогда давайте называть их заложниками и относиться к ним соответствующим образом.
If you took them as hostages, as Hamas did, then treat them as hostages and call them as such.
Ну и в этом случае готовы их поменять.
In this case, we will stand ready to exchange this.
На военных.
Додатково акцентували увагу російської сторони на військовополонених, які перебувають в полоні вже більше 3 років. Російська сторона погодилась працювати над тими людьми, щоб їх повернути.
Рассматривать всерьез данное предложение, даже украинская сторона не предлагала. Я думаю, им самим стыдно за своего этого недоделанного гауляйтера, который занимается этим выкапыванием останков.
The priority number one is to organize a meeting of the leaders of presidents, where participation of President Trump and Erdogan will be most valuable. We propose to the Russian side to hold such a meeting of leaders until the end of August.
Для того, чтобы подобная встреча состоялась, необходимо предварительно проработать условия соглашения и понять, что на этой встрече обсуждать, а на самом деле на этой встрече надо не обсуждать соглашение, а ставить точку, подписывать. Понимаете, как у нас говорят, конец делу венец. Встречаться для того, чтобы с нуля заново все это обсуждать, не имеет смысла. Специально для господина Рютте, как большого любителя истории, приведу историческую справку.
An historical note for Mr. Rutte specifically, because he's enjoying history.
В Китае была гражданская война между коммунистами и националистами.
China had a civil war between the communists and the nationalists.
Мао Цзэдун и Чай Канши.
Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong.
Чай Канши все время настаивал, что надо лично встретиться и обо всем договориться.
And Chiang Kai-shek insisted on having a personal meeting to agree upon everything.
Ukraine keeps insisting on a full and unconditional ceasefire as the necessary basis for effective diplomacy. We are ready for a ceasefire now and to start substantive peace negotiations. And it is up to other side to accept this basic step towards peace. Regarding the exchanges of prisoners of war, we expect further progress. We continue to insist on the release of civilians, including children. We're grateful to our partners who support efforts for peace, especially to the Republic of Turkey, for its active role in facilitating a platform for a dialogue and peace. Real steps are possible, and the other side must demonstrate a constructive and realistic approach. We will keep working to achieve this. The priority number one is to organize a meeting of the leaders of presidents, where participation of President Trump and Erdogan will be most valuable. A real ceasefire and end to all strikes on civilian infrastructure. This can be a crucial first steps towards lasting peace. We propose to the Russian side to hold such a meeting of leaders until the end of August. By agreeing to this proposal, Russia can clearly demonstrate its constructive approach to everyone around the world, including our partners. Real steps are possible, and the other side must demonstrate a constructive and realistic approach. We will keep working to achieve this.
Additionally, we drew the Russian attention to the prisoners of war who have been in captivity for over 3 years. The Russian side agreed to work on returning them.
I need to add an additional sentence to that, and that's an important thing. We do not exchange children, and we do not exchange civilians.
Для того, чтобы подобная встреча состоялась,
For such a meeting to take place, it is necessary to work out the terms of the agreement in advance and understand what will be discussed at this meeting. Actually, at this meeting, one should not discuss the agreement but finalize and sign it. As we say, the end crowns the matter. Meeting to discuss everything from scratch makes no sense.
Для господина Рютте, как большого любителя истории,
A historical note for Mr. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte specifically, because he is enjoying history. China had a civil war between communists and nationalists, Chiang Kai-shek and Mao Zedong. Chiang Kai-shek insisted on having a personal meeting to agree upon everything, and I believe they had 5 meetings. There was a meeting with photographs and smiles. But this did not put an end to the Civil War, since the basic contradictions and the differences were not solved. And the war continued. And despite a larger scale of Western aid, the nationalists lost the war and the communists won. 143. A meeting is only reasonable when there is preparation for that. We have conveyed this position to the Ukrainian delegation. The delegations are working on that list of children to return their homes, including the Children's Rights Ombudsman. Children return. This is a really tactical thing, because in this list, there was found out that over a large number of children was never in Russia, and probably they are somewhere in Europe. We don't know. 50 names from this list weren't children. They were already above 18. The list keeps getting smaller. And if talking about retracting baseless Russian accusations, will we make such a big list? Even the Ukrainian side did not offer to seriously consider this proposal. I think they themselves are ashamed of their inept quasi-leader Lviv Mayor Andrei Sadovy involved in exhuming remains. They exhumed the remains of the Imperial Army and Soviet soldiers, among whom there are many Ukrainians. Maybe they are not knowledgeable enough. I don't know. But they also exhumed them.
Is Russia concerned about any new restrictions that could be introduced by the European Union or the United States?
This is not a question for us, not for the negotiation group. I can tell you this. After the Revolution and Civil War in 1920, another historical reference, we didn't just have sanctions. We had an absolute diplomatic and economic blockade of Soviet Russia by everyone. Everyone. That didn't stop us from winning the Second World War. Due to moral reasons, since the body of a dead soldier should be buried in their motherland, we have given back more than 7,000 bodies to the Ukrainian side. We got back some of our soldiers. To save the time and the money of the taxpayers, we have decided to establish 3 work groups who would work online. A work group on political matters, a group on humanitarian issues, and a working group for military matters with corresponding specialists of military agencies. The Ukrainian side has decided to consider the proposal. We have once again proposed to the Ukrainian side to consider, in our view, a very important issue, to make 24 to 48 hours of short ceasefires on the borderline, on the front line, so that the sanitary battalions could take the wounded and commanders could take their dead soldiers. Due to the danger of constant domination of FPV drones, sanitary teams are at too great of a risk to evacuate the wounded. Following the exchange of prisoners of war, we have agreed that in the near future there will be an exchange of not less than 1,200 prisoners of war from all sides. I will not make it a secret that we have suggested a bigger number to the Ukrainian side. If they find ours, the numbers will be higher. There are certain technical issues on the Ukrainian side, including the matters of the refrigerators and the transportation, but we have made an offer to pass another 3,000 bodies to the Ukrainian side. As soon as the Ukrainian side is ready to accept the remains of their dead, we will hand them over to Ukraine with the help of the Red Cross. There was a question of returning civilians moved as a result of hostilities. One point of our agreement was not fully implemented. Not all Kursk region residents evacuated by the AFU to the territory of Ukraine were returned. To be honest, we don't understand why this is happening. If they took the civilians from there by the fire, then let them come back. And if you took them hostage, as Hamas did in its time with the first people it could get its hands on, then let's call them hostages and treat them accordingly. In this case, we are prepared to exchange them for the servicemen or other categories, but we want them to call things the way they are. You can find a word yourself. We will also continue to exchange medical supplies for the seriously injured and sick people on the battlefield. We also had a long exchange on the positions of the memoranda that we had exchanged last time. The positions are very different. We agreed to continue our contacts both at the level of delegations and, hopefully, at the level of the working group. We have been working through the entire list of 339 Ukrainian children, 339 in total, and I emphasize that we have been working through the entire list. Every name, every surname. Some of the children have already been returned to Ukraine. We're working on the others still. If their lawful parents, relatives, and representatives are present, these children will soon return home. For us, children are sacred.
Домой для нас дети — это святое.